Hi everyone, hello. I don't know why I just got nervous. And a little headache. Not a whole headache, just a little tinge. I don't know where I put my glasses. So, I'm gonna be doing. Oh, I forgot to do this. So, I'm gonna be doing day, I guess, three, the third one from the Amelie. I decided to come on and do it. It feels like more of a time now. But there's going to be some, like, pre card rant. Not rant, just some stuff I guess I want to talk about. Question mark. So I wasn't gonna timestamp this, but I will. Let's see. 0000 preramble. Y'all know the preamble? Is it what is the preamble? That's not 4 score and 7 years. No, that's the Gettysburg Address. What is the preamble? I had to memorize the preamble in high school. I don't even remember the preamble. It's fine. I am curious. Hey Siri, what is the preamble?
A preamble is an introductory, an expressionary statement in a document that explains the document's purpose and underlying
Oh
philosophy.
yeah. Okay. No, thank you. That almost sounded like a female voice at the end. Because I remember it was like, we hold these truths to be self evident that all men are created equal. There comes a time in the birth of a nation or something like that they have to do something, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't have to memorize that. We just read it. I analyzed it, not in high school, actually. I analyzed the preamble in, I guess, a critical thinking class. Um, it was ABE 301 with Dr. Tao, and he just retired and he was tenured, and a lot of people wanted him to retire. But I had an appreciation for him. Honestly, I did. I can see why people had the issues that they had with him, but anyway. Um, yeah, I guess that's interesting because that's, I guess, kind of sort of what I wanted to little mini ramble about. As I move forward in my own personal life, right? Uh, I've been questioning some things, I guess. Like one of the things that popped up on my Facebook, synchronicity. It popped up on my Facebook a while ago about painted rocks in Michigan. And I was like, oh my gosh, these pictures look amazing. Like, I want to go see nature. I want to go see this, right? Then come to find out, I'm going to have an opportunity to go to Michigan this summer. And painted rocks is on the list. Now it's a whole like Lake Michigan tour thing. I was like, we going to Wisconsin? Why are we going to Wisconsin? And then my buddy was like, because we're going around the lake, and that'll be one of the last times I see him and his girlfriend before they both leave the country. So it'll be nice. I'm glad also that I got to experience like a week and a half of being with him without fighting with him. Because that makes me a lot more comfortable in going on this basically road trip. Because before that, I might have been like, ooh, like, we only can do a few days before we start fighting. I don't know. Um, but it's interesting. As soon as I read Painted Rocks, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been talking about Painted Rocks, right? But anyway, in general, on the podcast, in the third episode, I talked about how, like, I've never really been the type of person to run away from my problems, but I've ignored them. And I also talked about how I realized that it seems like with a lot of journeys, there isn't necessarily anything that you acquire along the way. Hold on, wait. It's more about the journey than the destination. In a lot of journeys, it seems that it's more about the journey than the destination. And so back in the day, I had a thought of like, well, if the destination is irrelevant, then I can kind of sort of take the journey here. Now, granted, I didn't actually do anything, but that was my thinking. Um, and so there's this opportunity that I could pursue here at home. I've been talking about like wanting to move for a while, And I think it would still be pretty cool to experience something in somewhere new. But also, I guess I don't need it as much as I did. Um, and I feel like that's an opportunity worth following up on. Also, I've been thinking for the past few days specifically um, about a conversation I had with my mom summer 2019, and about how that sometimes it's like I can overlook or bypass or find a reason to not pursue what is not only readily available but also like if there's a mutual interest, I guess. I'm like it was in the context of dudes, right? Because there was this one dude who was like super cool. He was really cute, and like he knitted, I crocheted. I was like, oh my gosh, like we could get together. And he's like, send me some pictures of your projects. I was like, girl, well, I ain't got a lot on hand, but I just made this scarf. And that scarf is somewhere back there. I think I've showed that scarf before. Oh, it's right here, literally. Oh, if I can get it without moving everything. I was like, I have this scarf. Um, and he was like, oh, and he sent me some stuff. He made like a blanket for his nephew or something. It was cute. But then I was like, oh, well, like, I'm going to be graduating in 6 months. Meanwhile, like, that was over the summer, right? Meanwhile, I'm basically chasing after this dude that was only going to be on campus for a few weeks. And my mom was like, do you even see that? Like, here's someone who's actually genuinely interested, who wants to, like, get to know you. And your reason for not doing that is because, like, you're about to leave anyway. Yet, you're pouring all of this energy into someone who, like, you know is leaving a lot sooner. And I didn't get it. And so there's a lot of, like, I guess little pieces that are like, I don't know. It feels like a lot of things are available, and I don't necessarily have to resist them by tempting myself into going out for something else. Especially for something that I don't want to say it's not guaranteed, but it doesn't hold that mutuality, if that makes sense, right? It's like, why would I wait 15 days for something that I can get today if I don't have to, right? Essentially. Especially if it offers a quality experience. And I know that nothing is for certain, but I think also for me personally, I can get really caught up in like wanting to do the right thing because I don't want to waste time, energy, or effort. But in that, I don't do anything. And that's also not ideal. And also, I'm at a point now where I'm not really concerned with being hurt or disappointed. I've lived a life full of regrets that I no longer want to have. So I'll go after it, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And so I guess I say all of that to say that in some ways it's time for me to begin moving, but it's also for me to be conscious of some of the things that have been highlighted and illuminated to me over the years, honestly. Um, and I guess that was it. And so I don't even remember what I was talking about. What was I talking about? And I was like, oh my gosh, that kind of fits. I don't remember. Whatever I was saying in the beginning, I already forgot. So, Amelie Day 3. I'm going to be using 4 of these, 1 of these, and some of these. And today it's about the ghost of the phone booth. The ghost of the phone booth, it's this character who frequently appears but is never seen, I guess. And the way that he appears is through images. And it's a question of like, why are there so many images of the same individual with a blank expression, right? And then they just like tear them up and throw them away. And so, in order to come up with a solution, not a solution, an answer, you know, people theorize and brainstorm. And so, there's a certain way that they view this character before they know the truth of that character. And then there's also like the truth of that character. I don't fully remember because to me, okay, maybe it was. I can be a little oblivious sometimes, um, but it wasn't necessarily extremely obvious. And also, when confronted with the truth, that there's the question of like whether we'll accept it or not, or how we accept it, right? Do we accept it as openly as like, oh, this is the truth, okay, like work, or do we like sort of take a more combative approach, right? Like this can't be it, like it has to be something different, blah 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 blah. So anyway, that's why I'm doing this, and it's kinda sort of supposed to get more simple, less fanciful, and that's why I go from the Diceology to the SKT to the Kawaii Tarot. Not that these are necessarily simple, but the images are a lot simpler. Um, and then the Diceology is just kind of sort of all over the place. So that's why I'm using that. And that being said, I'll say pre-rant over at, man, I need my other glasses. I'll say 11:45. I love doing timestamps as I go because then I don't have to do them all later. 11:45 and conclusion, end of preramble. The preamble. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, and there comes a time in a nation when they have to, stick up for themselves, especially if they're under unjust rulership, as they felt they were with King, whoever the king was, maybe James. I don't think it was James, but it might have been, or King Harold the 15th. I don't know. And then in that they listed out all the ways in which he was unjust, and then it was like, because of all of this, or henceforth, we are going to declare our own independence, and we're willing to fight for it. And so I guess going back to that, there comes a point in our own lives, I guess, when we have to look at what we subscribe to, and we have to look at how it plays out for us, and basically kind of sort of in a way how we're treated by it, and we have to decide if we're going to continue to be subjugated by it or under its rulership, or if we're going to strike out on our own. Now, there's always a risk, I guess, involved when you do something on your own, or when you go against something or someone else, right? The risk isn't necessarily always sort of negative. It's just the risk in terms of like, maybe there's some like protection or some ease or convenience that's offered when you work for someone else rather than when like you're your own boss, right? And so it's not necessarily a risk of failure. It's just, things are going to be a lot less convenient until things are established. I'm probably going to be working some long hours, but it's like eventually it should balance itself out. Yes. Okay. So let's get into this. Again, we just kind of sort of play it by ear. However it comes is how it comes. I'm going to move this a little closer to me. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to actually shuffle all of these because I haven't even shuffled these. I know. Also, I'm wearing this because I'm taking the braids down, and it's only like a third of the way down. I'll say it's like a third of the way down, and like I've noticed that my hair has grown a lot, but that's the thing about protective styling, and that's the thing about kinky hair, right? I guess going back to an energy of what one culture does and like the reason why they do it. So with kinkier hair, it'll like naturally knot up and all kinds of stuff a lot easier. It leads to breakage, and your hair gets tangled more easily. And so a protective style will keep your hair basically from getting entangled among itself, and that will allow it to grow. and it reduces breakage and a whole bunch of other things, and it makes other things more convenient. And so, like, there's a reason and a purpose behind the style. It's not purely just for show, right? Ooh, Ten of Cups and the Ace of Swords. Those are those realizations that it's like happiness doesn't have to be something that is like 10 years away, or it doesn't necessarily always have to be something that you fight for. Because it starts within, and once you find it within, it's like it spills out in every direction. Right? It's like that Ace of Cups energy. It overflows to the point where, ooh, Nine of Cups, okay. It overflows to the point where it brings life to everything. And so now you don't have to go on the trip or go on the journey or do this or do that. It's not that you won't, but it flows to you more freely. And sometimes we get wrapped up in what we desire or what we wish, right? What the wish granted. But our heart's truest desire may be granted in a way that we didn't initially expect or suspect. Woo! Alright. And so it's going to be time to, like, actually move. Makes me a little nervous, but I'll be fine. I'm excited because I'm ready to, like, I don't know, start experiencing. I'm ready to start building something. Like, it's that time. I'm feeling it. I'm in my zone. I'm feeling it. Archangel Commander at the bottom of the deck with the Hollow Void, the Tower, and the Ace of Cups. Oh my gosh, look, there's the Ace of Cups. I was just talking about this. The Hollow Void, the Tower, and Holy Water. I feel like there's an energy here, especially with the Wish Granted, the Nine of Cups. There's an energy here of, like, us continually making certain wishes. Wishes that we hoped to be fulfilled, but we didn't do what we needed to, or we didn't wait for the divine to bring us something or to lead us towards something that will actually fulfill what is needing to be fulfilled. Now, first and foremost, it's probably a little bit of self-love, self-worth, a lot of self-stuff. And so it almost, like, the Four of Cups into the Tower almost carries an Eight of Cupsy, Seven of Cupsy, Seven of Swordsy-ish, Eight of Swordsy-ish, Nine of Swords, maybe Two of Pentacles, Five of Wands, Five of Swords energy. And it's like every time we tried to put something in a space where it didn't belong, it would fall apart. Eventually, we do what we need to do, right? And then it descends down like an angel from heaven. And the of this Ace of Cups, accompanied by the dove, right? And it takes me back to that energy of, like, when we make certain wishes, we also wish for the journey, right? It's like if the only way to get to Kokomo is through Kalamazoo, and you're manifesting Kokomo, you're also manifesting Kalamazoo, because it's the only way to get to Kokomo. And I think sometimes we don't fully realize that. And so it's like we'll try to MapQuest and GPS and TomTom. Y'all remember TomTom? Our way around Kalamazoo, all while trying to get to Kokomo, and it's just like it doesn't work like that. Every road is going to put you back into the direction of Kalamazoo. And you're like, oh, well, if I navigate around it, then it'll reroute me around Kalamazoo. And it's like, no, it's going to take you through Kalamazoo. Sorry, it's the only way to get to Kokomo. I remember when I went to London a few years ago. I haven't heard of TomTom in a minute. Like, it's been a minute since I've heard anybody talk about TomTom. And I've overheard a dude on the phone say TomTom. He was like, yeah, I gave you the location. Like, put it in TomTom. I was like, what? Two of Cups just came out with that Archangel Commander. Archangel Commander, Kalamazoo is like, it's all about putting you in your power. It's about fulfilling whatever it is within you that is, I don't want to say missing, but dormant or inactive. three cards. Ooh! Well, the Knight of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles, the Shining Quarry, the Bereaved, and the Giver just came out. Right? That it's a little bit of a stagnant energy. It can't move forward because it's like it can't give because of how it was hurt in the past. And I talked about that earlier today with the broken heart in reverse and appreciation in reverse, and how due to a lack of appreciation or from being taken advantage of, a lot of us will be less kind or will learn to be less whatever, when in reality maybe we should just learn to set healthier boundaries or be a little wiser when we give, right? Not to give more than is able to be received, or not to give more than we have the capacity to give. Bottom of the deck is the Reaper. So yeah, that's the confirmation. It's time to end all that. Okay. Work, sis. Yes. The Four of Pentacles and the Reaper. Psych. The Four of Pentacles and the and the Knight of Pentacles. It's time to venture beyond that. And it's not. The Conservator is also a protector, right? And so, like, protecting, it's not that. It's like you can protect yourself and be vulnerable at the same time, I guess. Or it's to realize that, like, there are different methods and means of protection, and maybe you don't need to be so ironclad, iron tight, what do you call it, airtight anymore. Like, maybe you can let people in, potentially, probably, honestly, if you're watching this, or if this resonates for you, or just in general. Okay, I ain't even shuffled the first deck yet. I might watch that movie again. I might watch Amelie again while I got Paramount Plus. I signed up for the trial just to watch it. And then I was talking to one of my buddies last night. I was like, yeah, I wasn't even going to like look at anything else on this platform. Like, I literally got it for one thing, and after that I was just going to leave it. I was going to wait until I was going to cancel my trial subscription and wait until it runs out. And they were like, really? I was like, yeah. And then I was like, wow, why would I do that? You know, at least see what they got. But I can kind of sort of be like that sometimes, and I think maybe that's something that I also need to get over a little bit. Because it can cause me to be a little stingy or selfish sometimes. But, like, if I buy something with a specific purpose in mind, then I use it for that purpose, right? So, like, I had a feel-good snack that I ate because I was going through a rough spot. And somebody asked me if they could have some of my feel-good snack, and I said no. And then, you know, they got a little upset, and it was like, wow, like, I can't believe you said no. But I was like, I bought that because, like, for a reason, and so I'm going to use it for that reason. And so there again is that openness, maybe an open-mindedness and open-heartedness that is necessary. The Five of Wands with the Ace of Swords, it's like, it's not know your enemy. Five of Wands, Ace of Swords, Eight of Cups, Ace of Swords. Knowing when it's better to walk away. Knowing which fights aren't worth fighting. Right? And it's not being so in your ego, I guess, that you can't, that you can recognize when something is worth playing a different role, right? That could be listening more. So, I already timestamped this end of Preramble. But I did talk about the ghosts a little bit, so that's fine. Alright, I'm actually going to pull these as I go, instead of doing them all at once. Or at least that's the plan. So I'm going to timestamp this now, as into the cards. Enter at your own peril, past the bolted door. That Dexter's Laboratory energy. I'll say 24:30, and then I'll get into this. But yeah, like, you'll hear me talk about it. I think I talked about it. I'll wait to timestamp. I think I talked about it on the podcast in like episode 2, when I was like, unconditional love is like effing me up low key, because the less conditional my love is, the more patient I'm becoming, the less judgmental I'm becoming, the more open I am to a lot of things. And it's, for me, and I've talked about it before on this channel, but for me, like, sometimes having more options makes it a lot harder to make a decision. And I'm in a point, I guess, where there are a lot of things that I could do, There are things that I've been telling myself I wanted to do. There are other things that I'm wanting to do. And somewhere in all of that, I need to just pick a direction and start moving. And so sometimes it can be a little much, right? Because like one of the things that I used to do was like I would like once I like fell out or like once I distanced myself from somebody for whatever reason, I would just be like all the way done. Now to be fair, like it would take multiple, I guess, offenses you could say, before I'm just like I'm done. But still, like that finality I found doesn't serve me because I would have missed out on a really good friend and my little Libran buddy if we didn't continue to try to be understanding, even in a space where there were sometimes cultural differences, other times just like personality differences or like individual differences. And so I don't know. I don't remember why I started talking about that, but it does make things a lot less certain. I think I talked about that, right? What you risk. I think for me, that was the risk in healing and learning to love myself and learning to be more vulnerable and less judgy or critical or analytical or whatever. It's that now it puts me in a position where things can play out almost in any way. And it takes a lot of the what was already barely known in life and it makes it even more unknown. But I wouldn't trade the limitless possibility and potential for anything. And I for gosh darn sure wouldn't go back to being who I was before because, it may be a little bit to navigate, but it ain't, so bad that I'll be like, oh yeah, I'd sacrifice this and go back to the limited thinking and the patterns that didn't serve me and the depression and everything else. Like, I'm good. I'll figure it out moving forward. So with that, I'll now timestamp this 27:30. That would have been 3 whole minutes. Oof. See, into the cards. Timestamps are approximations. Just like take the timestamps as they resonate. Oh snap, Mimi, Zelda, I ain't even see y'all. What's up? What's up? I'm probably like way late now. I'm like 2 minutes late. Yeah, I'm back. You're watching Shutter. Oh snap. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay. Reminds me of Shutter Island. Somebody talked about Shutter Island. I think it was Rob. Rob talked about Shutter Island the other day. And then I think I was looking for a movie to watch, and I was almost like, I could watch Shutter Island. How are y'all doing today? Yeah, I'm back. Ooh, what is this? We got where feminine and masculine meet, where passion meets determination, going the distance, a need for discipline, the conception of innocence, nesting and preparation, an immediately met request, a land where all seasons reside, a return to center. Okay. I have not called you Zelda. Wait. What's up? I mean, my ability to help will probably be severely limited. Just throwing that out there. But, Okay, let's get into this. I want folk cards. Ooh, there's a few. Let's see how many this is. One. An immediately met request came back out. The Eight of Clubs, which is an Eight of Wands energy. Eight of Essences. That is a benchmark. I guess you can look at the journey of essences as benchmarks in us getting acquainted with our soul, because the soul is what the soul is. The element of fire is it's non-divisible. Um, but the eight is reaching that space. It's a space of mastery, right? There was a stability that we got at the four. there was like at the 6 we felt like we figured it out. At the 7 we realized that there's more beyond what we were doing. At the 8 we sort of reached the precipice of a mastery, right? The 8 is the undertaking of the mastery, the 9 is the completion of that mastery, and then the 10 leading into the court energies. That's when we put that into practice, right? There's the second one. Oh no. Oh no. This is going back to that. I think it was day 2. I think it was day 2. I'm not gonna take this. It didn't come all the way out. Or not day 2. I think it was the one, the girl with the glass, and it was that energy where the devil came out on the sun, on the Knight of Cups, the Son of Cups, and it was like being tempted away from doing what it is that we need to do. And in that welcomes weary travelers. Oh gosh, that's a tricky energy. I mean, these I do all together. Being between worlds. Oh goodness, what is this? There's an energy here of like near completion, honestly, especially coming out with that 8 of clubs in the beginning. It's an energy of like almost being there, but before you can cross that threshold, it's like you have one final shadow to deal with. It's time to say goodbye to all of the limiting beliefs in the past. Like that's basically what I was talking about. I mean, kind of, sort of, in a way. It's that preamble energy. There comes a point in time when you have to take stock of who and what rules in your life, or uh, what you give consent, I guess, to be ruled under and ruled by. And you have to ask yourself whether or not it's serving you. And you also have to ask yourself whether or not you're going to have the courage and bravery to strike out on your own and to take the risk. Like this side, this is like, ugh. So the 8 of clubs, the Jack of hearts, the 2 of hearts, and the 7 of diamonds are on the table. The 8 of clubs is an immediately met request, a land where all seasons reside, and a return to center. The Jack of hearts is an inn that welcomes weary travelers, a hot tub that soaks all one's worries away, and a sly grin. The 2 of hearts is being between worlds, a vision brought to life, choices that require foresight and communication. The 7 of diamonds is a well-crafted illusion, a contaminant blowing in the breeze, searching for an open eye. This is not great, but it's. I'm not even going to say it's fine. This is an energy, and it's so interesting that this came out for the man, the ghost of the photo booth, right? Because the ghost of the photo booth, the whole story is them trying to find out why these pictures of a blank, emotionless face keep getting like taken but then thrown away. And it's like, if you go to a photo booth, you don't go to the photo booth just to like, it's like very obviously and very clearly not being utilized in the way that it was supposed to be, right? You don't go to a photo booth, not make an expression, tear up the photos, and do it all over again. And so it was them creating the situation and scenario in which that would be the case. And I feel like that energy is here as well. But through this, it's coming in under this energy of like what we're buying into or what we're choosing to believe. It doesn't serve us. I mean, it goes back to what I was telling. No, you didn't, Zelda. I haven't seen you in a minute. I don't. Who is starring Bill? I'm confused. Um, but it goes back to what I was saying earlier in a way. It's where we choose to see or perceive something in a way that takes us out of our power, right? And so sometimes the thing that we have to rise against, honestly, is ourselves. But it feels like there is an energy here that is very eager to offer I'm not answering questions right now, Zelda. Sorry. I'm doing this little. I would call it a spread, but I'm over here. It's like it doesn't really serve us, and there's an energy that's all too quick or all too eager to offer an illusion. Oh, you see that? You see that? Oh my gosh, the corruptor. Seven of Cups, like literally. The corruptor. Oof. Bottom of the deck is the blind seer. What's the bottom of the deck over here? The Ace of Clubs. A strong will and an open heart, all things taken into account. Yeah, this is not great energy. But I feel like this energy. This is Venus and Scorpio, that makes sense. I feel like Venus and Scorpio can play on the darker side. No problem, Zelda. Sorry. Hopefully, you get whatever you need. Um, I feel like Venus and Scorpio can tap into more like dominatrixy types of energy, but also I feel like Scorpio is a gateway to someone's personal underworld, and misaligned or not that great Venus energy can pick up on your insecurities. It's very like narcissistic. It's like it'll pick up on your insecurities and it'll offer you something, but it makes it very easy for like this energy to convince you that it is the only way that you're going to be loved, or it is the only way that you're going to be abundant, it is the only way you're going to be prosperous, because it plays on like that, what, Four of Cups in the Tower. It plays on that void within you that you're trying to fill with other things. And so honestly, this energy doesn't even have to do much, because you'll see it and then project onto it what you want from it, which is what you really desire from yourself, but you are for some reason incapable of giving. And that goes back to the blank, expressionless face. Like, I was watching Halloween with my buddy Chad the other day, and he told me that Halloween was supposed to be like one movie, and that John Carpenter didn't even want to like do the second one. And when you watch the first movie as a standalone, and they call him the Shape instead of giving, well, he has a name, but it's more the Shape, right? It's like we project onto that blank mask, and that energy is coming here too. And so, in that sense and in that regard, I feel like there's, I guess, a certain amount of ownership that needs to come in here, potentially. But this is us seeing the ways in which our own words, thoughts, and actions lead to our own demise. And this is like it also, I think, I don't remember if it was the first one in this series. It might have been. I think it was. Yeah, it was. With the stingray clarified by the magician. Yeah, it was like that same, because it was the stingray clarified by the magician with the Son of Pentacles and the Son of Cups. It's that literally that same energy where it's like we're aligning, but we're just not aligning in a way that we want to. It's not necessarily misaligned. You're using the tools. You're just not using it in a way to produce a result that you want. And as long as you're on one side of the scale, and it isn't even necessarily like devil energy. Oh, snap. It isn't even necessarily like devil energy. It's just you. It's a distorted projection. You're trying to force something onto something or someone that isn't capable of giving it to you. Or, I mean, not to say that there isn't like, there couldn't be a narcissistic energy or whatever, but it's like it's the monster in your own mind, but to you it's real. And because it's real to you, your brain will treat everything that it does to you as real, regardless if there's something really there or not. This feels like some nasty self limitations, honestly. And the way out of this, like the strong will and open heart, all things taken into account with the Two of Swords, it's like, regardless of if you can see the outcome or not, regardless of if you know it's going to pay off or not, you got to do what you know you need to do. You got to be tough, you got to be strong, you got to be brave, you got to step outside of everything that you know, especially if everything that you know isn't that great. It's time to either use the tools in a different way or to get a new set of tools. The mind is one of those tools, the heart is another one of those tools. That's why healing journeys can be very helpful in getting us to where we want to be, and that's why attitudes of gratitude and appreciation and higher aligned, more positive thinking can lead to more. It can lead to like more a more pleasurable experience in a number of ways. And the thing about projection is that like it runs beneath the surface. Right? This it's Venus and Scorpio. It's Scorpio. It goes all the way down. So whatever tip of the iceberg, surface level, and it's like sometimes we do a lot of more surface level things and we expect maybe you get a little bit of something because you know a little bit is better than nothing, but then we reach the limit of what we can accomplish without actually going down and handling whatever puts us in a position of taking these things that don't serve us. And the ghost of the photo booth, like, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Amelie, like, and you want to, then, I don't know, skip forward like 10 seconds, but the ghost of the photo booth isn't a ghost. It's an actual man. It's a real life person. Okay. The star and the Five of Swords. The star and the Five of Swords, it's coming out as an energy of that, like, it's that which you wish for, that's that which you wish and hope for, but you don't have the courage to believe in. And so, because you don't have the courage to believe in that which you actually want, it puts you in an energy of settling. I think I talked about the Seven of Cups. I was like, this is like a Seven of Cups, Eight of Cups, Eight of Swords, Seven of Swords, Two of Pentacles, like type of energy. And the star, I have not, Mimi, I don't have Netflix. So a lot of Netflix stuff I haven't heard about or seen. I've been playing a lot of video games lately, honestly. And watching some anime. It's that which you wish for but don't have the courage to believe in. Not fully. The Four of Wands with the Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This is like going all in on things of very little substance. And it's not that they're not promising, but anything, a lot of things worth having are worth investing in. And the Page of Pentacles is an energy of investment. It's an energy that's typically one that is okay with investing. But coming out with the Four of Wands and the Five of Swords on this star, I feel like whatever lasting power the Page of Pentacles would have, it loses. And honestly, if I'm being real honest, it makes me rethink literally everything I just said. But that's like I've been going back and forth within my own mind of like, am I taking what's easy? Or am I choosing to not Like, am I taking what's easy, or like, am I going to like break the cycle? And that's the other thing about my journey in particular. Um, it feels like sometimes it's about recognizing that like not everything is necessarily bad and not everything is necessarily good. There have been times in my journey where I've made choices and decisions that I would have made in the past, but for a very different reason. It's like it plays out the same, but the reasoning is different. And then it would be like, well, like I know that the reasoning is different. I know that what motivated is different, but it's playing out the same. So like, am I really like what's really going on here? That's one reason why I'm like, it doesn't necessarily get easier, but it's fine. You were reading the book a few years ago but didn't finish it. Shocked they made a miniseries on Netflix, but the thing behind it was great. Psychologist who uses astral projection as a metaphor for the way we project our own feelings and judgments onto others. You started watching season 2 of Be the Beginning 2. I didn't even know they had a season 2 of that show out. That's how far behind I am. Um, and it's interesting that you say that because I feel like I heard that recently. Something about projection and how it's like it's not necessarily always bad. Also about how like with the blank face of Michael, we like in some ways can project our fears onto him or whatever. Not whatever, but something like that, right? The blind seer here, though, it's about trusting what's beyond. It's like linked to the high priestess. The blind seer, as a representative of an energy that it would serve us to embody, it's a crossover between the high priestess and the justice card. And so it would be like minor high priestess, minor justice. So if you can kind of combine the Queen of Cups with the Queen of Air, but the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords, but dilute both the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords, it would be the Two of Swords in general. Not necessarily this Two of Swords specifically, but it would be the Two of Swords in general. Where it's like our intuition is pitted against our logical reasoning mind, but in a way where they don't have to be. I need some more. Will I pull anymore? Yeah, I need more. Actually, I'm not because I already know the answer. Gosh, that's why I'm like. Uh. Also, though, for myself personally, it's definitely the time for me to be more focused, to be more intentional. Like, I was really intentional about the healing that I did in my journey, but now that everything is like wide open, I don't know where to put my intentions, and it isn't necessarily for me to know where, but like I want to know where to step if I'm gonna step somewhere. But I can just do the things that I feel guided to do, right? I don't know, y'all. I don't have it any more figured out than anybody else, but I know the pieces of me that I ain't going back to in the past, that I ain't going back to in the depression and the misery and everything else that I ain't going back to. I know that I ain't going back to that, but what the world has to offer beyond that, I don't know because I lived 20, basically like 24 and a half, basically 25 out of 28 of my years here with a non-future. And so now that I actually have a future, it's like, wow, like it's a bunch of stuff that I didn't even think I would still be here today. So, what do I do? Okay. Ooh, that's a lot, but I'll take it. Bottom of the deck is the Seven of Swords. I'll leave this here. That brings us to the Nine of Swords. Temperance is a card that I've been seeing a lot today and hearing a lot of today, it seems. You think it's your turn to be intentional as a heavily mutable person. Mm. That's an interesting thing too, mutability and intentionality. But I don't think they necessarily work against each other. With mutability, it may just be to be open about getting it in a different way. So temperance in this deck reminds me of justice because of the scales. So temperance and justice, it's a Jupiter. It's like a Jupiter Mercury energy, a mercurial Jupiter. Oh, the nodes are in Sag and Gemini right now until the top of 2022 when they shift into Taurus and Scorpio. Temperance, it's coming in. It's not an energy of a happy medium, but it is an energy of like finding appreciation, gratitude. It's more than just finding appreciation and gratitude where you are, but that energy is involved here somewhere. And the next card is the Sun, followed by the Chariot, the King of Cups, and the Five of Cups. So we got three mages, a court card, and the Five of Cups. Who is the King of Cups? Is the King of Cups like pre-death energy? What would the King of Cups be? If I had to tie it to a major, the King of Cups, it's a strength energy, but it's also very watery. I guess in some ways the King of Cups would be a pre-Hanged Man energy. And I say the Hanged Man because the King of Cups is one of the most feminine masculine energies. And so it's like a feminine masculine energy, but it's not threatened like the King of Wands might be. A more shadowy King of Wands. Because a highly aligned King of Wands energy wouldn't care, honestly. King of Wands is like, it's like, I know. Like, I know. Like, I don't need to put on a front. I don't need to act. I don't need to pretend. I don't need to be anybody that I'm not. And you're still going to love me. Funny how that works, right? And it's not in an arrogant way. It's a way that like it doesn't have to compromise itself to be comfortable or confident. So I ain't gonna put that on the King of Wands. So yeah, it's like a pre-death energy, whereas like the Eight of Cups, Ten of Swords would be a minor death. So temperance with the Sun and the Chariot, that's that energy. It's kind of sort of linked to like finding the sun in whatever area and just following it. It's like following the North Star. The star is right here, right? But it's like you have to follow the star until it becomes the sun. So once you get close enough to the star, it illuminates the sky. And so there is a lot of internal alchemizing that needs to be done as we're going about these processes, right? Oh, look, there's a little star. There's a little sun and two stars here in the top of the Chariot. So yeah, it's moving forward in that direction. The King of Cups with the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is a card of perspective, where you can take the perspective of hurt and loss and pain and grief, or you can choose to focus on what's going right. That's literally this. It's literally all confirming it. But the Chariot and the King of Cups, that's you being in the position to actually do it. Now, the Blind Seer is taking on that energy. It's High Priestess and Justice still, but instead of it being a Justice and High Priestess where it's trying to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense, it's Justice and High Priestess almost in a magician temperancy type of way of like, I know that if I bring this energy to the table, it will be met. No questions asked. I know that if I embody this, I will be met with what I want. And so there are times when, like, could there be an easier solution? Yeah. But with the Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck, it's like not taking the easy way out. Being in this Two of Swords state is difficult. It's not necessarily easy. Oh, look, 7 into the 8. There is strength right there. Hey, love that. Oh, look, and the Knight of Wands with the Knight of Cups. Okay, the Knight of Cups is there. The King of Cups is here. The Knight of Wands is my minor. The Knight of Wands is my pre-strength card. So you have big strength and then pre-strength, and then the Seven of Wands is minor strength. Um, so major strength and minor strength here behind the Seven of Swords. Again, it's like being in that in-between space isn't easy. It's going to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be, but it's going to be difficult when we're in the process of basically rewiring our neural network. And honestly, journeys of healing, that's what you're doing. And it's extremely complex and it's not easy. And the neuroplasticity of the brain outside of surgery, and I'm not a brain scientist, but I know a little bit about some things. I've heard a little bit about some things. With the neuroplasticity of the brain, like in lieu of surgery, you have to form these new habits and patterns. And the more you choose something else, the more you do something else, the easier it is for your brain to remember that. And then over time, it reroutes, re-networks certain choices and decisions. Maybe that's why, and again, I only have myself really to use as whatever. But when I was at my friend's house and we were playing the game, I noted, like, during my entire stay, I noticed that I was, like, not even consciously making choices to basically maintain the peace. It was like I could be like, oh, it's not fair that you keep going, like, when is it my turn? And then that could have started a whole argument. I could have got super mad because, you know, old me would have been like, that's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair. You're so selfish and it's not fair. But I was like, you know what? I can just keep letting him try. And because he continued to try, we actually figured it out. We figured it out and we beat the level. And there were so many little things that it's like I was like I could like turn this into something else. I could talk about how unfair this is or isn't or whatever, or how much I don't want to do this and how we should do something that we all want to do. Or I could just let it go. I can be in the moment. And honestly, with me just being in the moment, things worked out beautifully. I mean, I ate in Runcible Spoon. I had tiramisu for the first time. It was amazing. I also had creme brulee for the first time. I wasn't a huge fan, but I don't like a lot of cream, so I'm not surprised. I had an amazing biscuits and gravy with some eggs on top. It was good, and the pictures, it was such a, like, I'm so grateful that I had the experience that I had, and I'm so grateful that I worked on shifting my own or rerouting my own brain to the point where I didn't even have to consciously think about making certain choices and decisions. I just did it, and then I was like, wow, like, I just did that. What? And it actually worked out. And I think it starts as that minor strength, but again, the more we practice it, it develops and evolves into that major strength. And that's the Five of Swords between the Two of Swords, in its elevation. Right? It's not necessarily going to be easy, but like the Devil and the Son of Cups. Oh, look, there's the Knight of Cups. It was the Devil and the Knight of Cups. So what's behind the Knight of Cups? Behind the Knight of Cups is the Empress now. Oh, snap. And the Two of Cups. Okay, work. That it's been a thing of, like, you know, not taking the easy way out, or not, and it just, I don't know, it detracts, it takes away. So that's what I got. I'm actually going to I'm gonna end this video here because I've been live long enough today. But like, a strong will and an open heart, all things taken into account. Right, all things taken into account means also seeing the viewpoint that, like, for me, I would have been extremely upset in the past if I would have been like, it's not fair that you keep going, but you want me to like forfeit my turn, blah 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 blah, right? And then if I would have blown it up into a whole argument because I was upset, and if he would have been like, it's just a video game, it's not that serious, then I would have been even more upset. And for some reason, that like it's not that serious. At one point, maybe it was, because I was very much so the type of person that's like, it's about the principle. It's about the principle. It's about the principle. It's not what happened. It's not the minutia or the microscopic inconvenience that I'm experiencing right now. It's about the principle. And if we were in a different situation, I would have suffered more. But it's like, okay, but we're not. Calm down. It's not that serious. I wouldn't have responded well to that in the past at all. But maybe that King of Cups mini death, pre-death energy, it's like, it's also recognizing that within our own sort of like emotional body and within our own workings, that pre-death, pre-hanged man energy. And it's like, in some ways, it's that kind of like quicksand, that chokehold, like the more you struggle, the tighter it grips you. And so to escape, you need to release. I think the King of Cups can also be an energy of us needing to feel like we are in control emotionally of a situation. Or it's us so afraid of certain, or so averse to certain ways of things playing out that we actually work against our own interest. For the sake of, it's like when you hurt yourself in order to not be hurt by somebody else. I did that for a long time. It wasn't great. It was very not great. But you've been shifting your energy towards your grandmother despite the circumstances. I mean, that's all we can do sometimes. You just shift the energy and then the rest will play out. So that's what I have for y'all. I mean, it feels like, is this going to be like 5 or 6 or 7 different ways of looking at the same energy? Maybe. Oh, look! These 2 cards are still here. A well-crafted illusion. A contaminant blowing in the breeze, searching for an open eye. Being between worlds, a vision brought to life. Choices that require foresight and communication. What's sticking out to me is the contaminant blowing in the breeze, searching for an open eye, and the vision brought to life. Because that contaminant in the eye, it's like, even if it's tiny, even if it's barely noticeable, it obscures your vision in some way. And when you're in between worlds and when nothing is really established on either side, it's like the tiniest of things can push you. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back type of energy. But there's a need to like build a foundation where you want to build the house. Build a foundation where you want to live. Build a foundation where you want to grow. So with that, I bid thee all adieu. It was nice to see you, Mimi and Zelda. I hope things improve, but I'm honestly not really in a position to be helping too much anybody right now. And so yeah. Well, it's not. I don't know. But I can't apologize for it either. So I do sincerely wish and hope that whoever needs whatever, like you find it. But I'm just not in a position right now to put myself out there like that. So I'll catch y'all later. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that when you're faced with challenge, that you rise to it. I hope that you make the difficult choice to be open and vulnerable and to discover the strength that lies within and the abundance and the blessings and the flow and that cooperation. Especially if that's something that is for you to get where you want to be, right? So, with all of that, I'll catch y'all next time I catch y'all. Bye.